everyone drops back into this room and loads in. Okay, I'm going to be fun and have a little poll just to gauge how everyone's feeling. Okay. I just wanted to see that everyone was, for the most part, feeling good about everything. Okay, I'm in that. Now, we're back in our main session, and we're going to watch just 2 more videos. This next video is about something called permalinks, and it's just a tool to, let me start recording again. Okay, it stopped recording. This is just a tool to help you keep the integrity of some of your online sources that you may or may not use for your notes. So it's a little dense, but just bear with me. This is something that's new to this volume, and that hopefully you'll be able to use in your volume next year and in perpetuity.
This is a tutorial for University of Louisville Law Review members and editors. This tutorial will teach you how to learn and successfully use permalinks in your editing assignments and also in writing and editing your notes. The first thing you probably want to know is, what is a permalink? A permalink is an archival link. Permalink is brand specific to the service we'll be using that's called PermaCC, which I will be getting into later. But a permalink you can just think of as a link that is permanent, that you can trace your steps back to a web page or website that no longer exists. The caveat being you have to actually make the permalink to actually be able to access it in the future. A permalink will take a snapshot of any web page anywhere, precisely how it looks in the moment that you create the permalink. And the purpose of this is to safeguard against what some scholars refer to as link rot. Link rot isn't just a problem that lawyers and judges and legal scholars are facing. It's widespread, but in our context, link rot is when you are reading a law review article or a note, or even an opinion written by a judge, and that opinion or note or article cites to a website that either no longer exists, or the information that your proposition is citing to is no longer on that web page, where the information has changed. So what you're watching right now on the screen has been my personal note. It's a rough draft, but I cited a lot of internet sources. Just that was the way that my topic turned out. You might have a topic that results in you citing 0 web sources, and you should only cite a web source when you cannot find the same information in a more established source, like a law review article or a book or a treatise. So my note cited to some online sources, and I ran into this problem where, being the nature of the topic, there was some change happening, but what I wanted to cite to, I didn't want in the future the web page that I was citing to reflect whatever the future change was. I wanted the website to be frozen, so I started taking screenshots, and that works, but this is much better because the Blue Book in Rule 18 has a mechanism, has a formalized way of citing to archival links. So you see here, I've gone to the quote-unquote original URL that that I was citing to in my note, and I'm having a problem because that web page no longer exists. Sorry, the web page you requested is not found. Now, it did exist at one point, and thank goodness that I have an archival link. It turns out that the website was undergoing a lot of construction, and I reached out to the in-house counsel for the Uniform Laws Commission, and she said that a lot of information had been lost in the redesign of the website. So I had a permalink, and as you can see, the website does look a lot different, but it has the information that I was citing to. So anywhere down the line, someone will know that I didn't just make up information and then cite to a web page that doesn't even work anymore. By using the permalink, they can see where the web page used to exist and then what it looked like when I actually consulted the link. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to show you is a context that might be really important to use permalinks for. If your note has a lot of government sources and those sources are exclusively online, you might run into some situations where a change in presidential administration or change of any type of person in office can result in massive changes to a website that has a lot of important information. For instance, in my note, I cited to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services website several times, and although I did not run into any changes in the website and the information contained on it, I am highly cognizant of the possibility that it could happen in the future. Presidential administrations change, new appointees are made, and sometimes there's a complete overhaul. So what I did is, after I collected my web sources and I had the proper footnote form, I would make a permalink. So here's what the web page looked like, or currently looks like as I'm making this video. This is the actual URL. And you see at the bottom, it does say last changed in 2017. So it's been relatively recently, and a lot of these government website changes do correspond with a change in presidential administration. So I know that it has the possibility to change in the future, and I want my note to reflect that what I was citing to was something in February 2020, not whatever new iteration that it's at. So you see I've made the permalink, and this is from February 10th, 2020. The permalink tells me when I took the snapshot. But let's say that there was a change on this page, and I wanted that change to be reflected in my note and therefore also in my permalink. This means that I need to make a new permalink. And luckily, because we are part of the University of Louisville, our library gets an unlimited number of permalinks. So you can make as many permalinks as you want, and it's not going to cost any extra. We can have thousands and thousands of these, and so there is no penalty in updating your permalinks, even if you just want to be most accurate to what the website looks like at the time, even if there were no substantive changes. This is all about academic integrity, all about making sure that our journal is the most as respectable as possible. And part of that is we have to be trustworthy when we publish things, because we want to be cited to, and we want other legal scholars to trust in the work that we're putting out. Okay, so now I'm getting down to actually making the permalink. The website is permacc.com. You see it at the top left-hand corner. And you will be signed up for this, and I will help you register for it. But basically, you just sign in, and then you put the URL that you want to cite there at the top. And we do have an organizational system. So I'm also in the library, so ignore the law library tab. You won't have that. The volume 59, that's our volume. The note, and then you'll have a folder that has the last name of the author _ note. And that's where we want you to keep the permalinks you make for the notes that are being published in this volume. When we get to the right stage, we're going to make folders for all of the first year members to put the permalinks that they have for their notes as they're going. But we're not to that stage yet, so the folder's not made, but it will be there, and hopefully by then you will have the hang of this. It's not as hard as it looks. It's just about copying and pasting a URL, making the permalink, just making sure it's in the right folder, and then putting it back in your document. And the Blue Book rule for creating a permalink, an archival link, for any web source, it's 18. You can find it in Rule 18 of the 20th edition. And some of you will have the 21st edition, and if that's the case, it should still be Rule 18, but if it's not, I will update this video. There's one more context that I want to talk about when it comes to using permalink and the importance of it, is if your note topic is tracking bills that might become laws by the time that your note actually gets to publication. So govtrack.us, I believe is the website that I've pulled up, is exactly one of those websites that tracks ongoing United States legislation as it goes through the House and the Senate. So I've just pulled up a random Marine Mammal Research and Response Act of 2019. And this has the information that is most up to date for the day that I'm checking this, which is June 5th. By the time you watch this video, it might have changed. And that just shows the importance of using a permalink. If you want to cite to something, not in the context of this is what the web page looks at any point down the line, but you want to know that when your note goes to press, that this is what the page looked like, this is the information that was contained on that page. This is where permalink comes in handy. So I'm going to make a permalink of that exact web page, copying and pasting just the regular URL, creating the permalink. It might take a second. And voila, there's the permalink. It looks exactly like the web page as when I created the permalink. It even has some of the active links that won't really work because this is just a snapshot. This is not the working web page. But the great thing about permalink is that you can really easily just go to the live web page by clicking the button at the top that says go to the live web page. But meanwhile, you can scroll down through the page and see that it looks exactly how I saved it. And 10 years from now, when I click this permalink, that's what it's going to look like. Just to ease your mind, this is new to all of us, but we think that this is important. It's cutting edge. This is what a lot of journals are going to be doing in the years to come, and we're getting ahead of the game by implementing what the Blue Book has already given us, and that is a form to cite archival links to all of our web sources. So we're taking advantage of something new and implementing it early on so that down the road, law review members like yourself will be really familiar with this way of citing web sources in their notes and in article assignments and note assignments. But in the end, this is going to be really helpful. And down the line, you may have to exercise some discretion regarding when to make updated permalinks, but that's something that you should talk to your editors about and absolutely talk to me about, because in instances where the web page just doesn't exist anymore and you want to keep the link that showed it exists, like I showed early on in this video, you will never have to update the permalink, because if you did, you would just be linking to a 404 error page. But in some instances, like the U.S. government bill tracker, you might want to make sure that the moment before your note goes to print, that your permalink is up to date as possible, so that the proposition, the statement that you are saying in your note, is reflected in the source you are citing to. And that's just all about academic integrity and academic responsibility. And as law review members, it's incumbent upon us to be responsible when citing to web sources. And we should only do it when we have to. It should not be the first resort. It should be the last resort. But we live in a day and age where a lot of things are digital, and the Blue Book is helping us work through that. PermaCC is helping us work through that. And so it's important to start learning how to use permalinks early on. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please contact me. I would love to talk about permalinks. I've been obsessed with them. They're much better than screenshotting everything you do.
Sorry, there's always a delay when I'm trying to restart my video. Okay, so I hope that didn't intimidate you all too much. I know it's a lot of information, and this is something we're going to be learning together. Next, we're going to hear from April again, our editor-in-chief, and she's going to tell you about the changes in our upper-level writing requirement. In the past, for law review members, it's been a little bit different, that if you just wrote a note that met the word count and was a C or higher, then you automatically got the writing requirement. U of L has changed that, so April's going to explain that, and she's much better at that than me.
So next, I'm just going to take a couple minutes to walk you guys through the new upper-level writing requirement course. This is something brand new being implemented by the law school this year, and all journals are having to adapt a little bit and incorporate the new course into the note writing process. So essentially, in the past, journal membership on its own fulfilled your writing requirement, which is a requirement for graduation, as long as you successfully completed a student note that met all of the criteria laid out by both the law school and the ABA. Now, in what I believe is an effort to streamline the note certification process, students will actually enroll in a 1-credit course, completion of which will satisfy your writing requirement. The course instructor for the upper-level writing requirement course is Professor Jordan, so she will be who you go to for any questions regarding the course itself. I've been working alongside her as she's developed this course to ensure our journal and our members' interests are kept in mind throughout the planning and implementation of this course. Thus, I'm essentially the course aide and will also be here to answer any questions you have and help you along the way as you complete this course. So, I wanted to just briefly walk you through an overview of the course. You can see here a course description with learning outcomes and expectations. These are all the same learning outcomes and expectations that writing a student note was always meant to accomplish. So don't stress thinking this is going to be a lot of extra work on your plate, because I can assure you it is not. You will be earning an extra credit hour, so of course you will be asked to put in additional work that members didn't have to in the past. That said, the end goal is the same, and all the work that you will do between now and when you turn in the final draft of your note is going to make your note that much stronger, that much more thoroughly researched, and that much better. So, just to provide a concise overview of the main differences in fulfilling the writing requirement now versus in the past. First, as I've said, you'll receive an additional credit hour for your journal membership. This really goes a long way as you get into your third year and are planning your course schedule. Sometimes one additional credit can allow you to take a 2-credit seminar instead of a typical 3-credit course, and just give you some more flexibility that's really nice to have when you're taking electives. So that additional credit hour is going to be really nice to have in the future. Second, one big difference is that the upper-level writing requirement course is graded. So typically journal membership is pass-fail, credit, no credit, and 2 of your credit hours that you receive from membership still will be that way. The additional credit from the upper-level writing requirement course, however, will be graded. I apologize to anyone that is not excited to hear that. It was determined by the law school and not by us. But I do think you can just look at this as a chance to boost your GPA even further, because you guys are all going to work hard and write really awesome notes, so you're going to get good grades. So no worries there. Third, so as I mentioned a little bit before, there are going to be some additional assignments. The process, however, is mostly the same. All of the assignments you will have are things we were encouraged to do as first-year members, just not required to. They're all exercises or assignments meant to help you in the research and writing process. And finally, there's just a bit more structure in the process. There are going to be more firm due dates throughout the process, and this is just to ensure you're spreading the load throughout the 2 semesters you have and not waiting until a couple months before your draft is due to really put in work on your note. So Professor Jordan has been in contact with me and has said that she's finished with the syllabus and assignment descriptions and has a course page for us to use on Twin. Hopefully you guys are all familiar from your first year courses with Twin. Maybe you had a course, a professor that used Twin. So that is where you'll find all the material you need for the upper level writing requirement course. It is how I believe she will communicate with you about the course. The board will, of course, always be in communication with you via Teams and via email to remind you of deadlines and to do our part to guide you through the note research and writing process as we always have. So just remember, Professor Jordan is just in charge of the upper level writing requirement course, and the board is going to help you through this process as we always have. This is a fairly significant change to journal membership. However, I think it will ultimately be a good one. Members have never had so many resources, modules, support from advisors and editors, opportunity for meaningful advice and feedback or structure to this process ever before. So you'll be receiving more information about this in the coming days from either myself or Professor Jordan, but if you have any immediate questions, please feel free to reach out.
I had one question, real quick.
Yeah, sorry. I meant to call on you. My thing takes forever. Go ahead, Chris.
It's all right. I didn't know we were going to go on with the presentation. But I was just wondering, so right now the way my fall schedule is set up is I'll have 16 credit hours. And I think the maximum you can take is like 18 or something like that. And so with the 2 credit hours that are pass-fail and then the 1 that is graded, that'd put me at, I think, 19 credit hours. And so I was just wondering how, like, the law review credit hours kind of, like, fall into those. I didn't know if they'd be, like, a spring credit hour type thing or how it all adds up.
Yes, at least for the 2 credit hours, and someone hop in if they know more than this, but the 2 credit hours for us will apply in the spring.
Okay, that worked for me then.
Okay.
I just didn't want to accidentally have like 19 credit hours and then go over and then have to do some admissions stuff. But if that's the case where it's the 2 credit hours in the spring, then I think it'll be fine.
Okay, cool. April, do you know about the writing requirement?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm pretty sure you'll get that credit in the fall. I'm not totally sure, but like Katie said, you'll definitely get the 2 in the spring. You might get all 3. But at the very least, you'll get 2 in the spring, and then you may get 1 in the fall. But Betty Eunice takes care of all that, and I don't think there's ever been any issues in the past with like going over because of your law review credit. So you should be totally fine.
Okay, thanks for saying that. That's all I was worried about. Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, we're at the end of the presentation, so this is perfect segue into any more lingering questions about anything you've heard today. It's totally normal for you to feel stressed out by having this information overload, but we hope that we presented it in such a way that it is digestible. Yes, go ahead, Nicole.
So are we supposed to go ahead and like sign up for these classes on ULink like the other courses, or how does that work?
April, I think, is going to distribute instructions from Professor Jordan when Professor Jordan has those ready about how to register. Is that right, April?
So you guys you don't have to register for your law review credit or the upper level writing requirement course. Betty is I give them your student ID numbers, and Betty registers you for all 3 credits. The only thing that you have to register for is like you have to go on Twin and just register so that you can see all the course content. And I'm going to follow up after this and send you the information that allows you to do that. But you don't have to do anything on Ulink.
Okay, and Emily, so I think the answer that we got about if you already fulfilled your writing requirement, you can not enroll in the course, but you'll still have all the same due dates. So it's up to you if you want to do the extra credit and boost your GPA or anything like that. That's up to you if you've already fulfilled your writing requirement.
Yeah, and that only applies to 3 hours. That would have, yeah.
Anyone else? Yeah, Margaret.
Hey, I actually just, this is like a comment and not a question, but I just wanted to like put it out there for everyone. I think we've all tried to iterate as much as possible. Like, please, 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 like reach out to your team editors or, I mean, pretty much anybody on Law Review if you have any questions. I just wanted to say, like, something I felt nobody really prepared me for is, like, 2L year is hard. It's hard, not just because of your courses, but because you're doing things like Law Review, because you may have leadership positions in other organizations, and it will be a lot. Like, there are definitely going to be times that you're overwhelmed. There are going to be times that you probably hate being on Law Review. And I know, for me, I kind of just wish somebody had told me that and told me that, like, there are going to be times that you hate your life. There are going to be times you hate everything, that you're stressed, that you're frustrated. And we have all been there and we get it. Like, we understand absolutely that, like, you are going to feel that way sometimes. So just, like, please, 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 like, yeah, you're going to vent to your friends. You're going to reach out to, like, other people in Law Review and complain about how much it sucks. But, like, if there is ever anything that sucks that we can help with or that we can, you know, make better, please, 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 please let us know, because that's how Law Review is going to, you know, be an overall good experience for you all this year, even though there are pain points. And it's only going to work if you all communicate with us and let us know. So, like, use everyone you have as a resource. Don't feel like they're not available. And, you know, if for some reason you're not hearing back from somebody, just, like, let somebody know, because it is going to be a process for all of us. And, like, we're all learning how to be editors and senior editors and stuff too. So, like, that was just my spiel about, like, we're going to get through it and we're here for you all.
Thank you, Margaret. That was perfect. I retweet all of that. Yeah, Leah?
Okay, sorry. Okay, before we go, I just want to say really quick, I know a couple of you all don't have Blue Books from your lawyering skills class, so we have Blue Books for you for free. You don't have to worry about it. I'm going to reach out to you all and see who needs one, and we'll try to figure out a way to pick those up. You'll also get Texas manuals, Texas Law Review manuals. They have, like, grammar rules and spelling rules and things like that. And those will be, we'll get those to you when school starts in the fall, because you should have an online copy of those already. And then one last thing is your membership dues. Thank you to all of you who got them to me so quickly. I know Venmo is confusing for some people, and I know some people don't have it, and I know, like, thank you for those of you that had to make an account for this one sole thing, so thank you for that. But there are a couple of you that I need the dues from still, so if you want to Venmo, I think Venmo's the easiest. Here, I'll send my username in this thing in the chat. My profile picture is me hugging my dog, so you know it's me. If you don't have Venmo, you can mail a check to the school. Just reach out, email me, and then we'll figure something out, okay? That's all. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Leah. All right. If no one has any more questions, I'll kind of do like a going once, going twice thing. Like a few more seconds. Okay. I'm just going to assume that there are no more questions that anyone feels comfortable airing here. But you see all the email addresses of the things that we really talked about today. So if you want to know about oh yeah, Margaret, go for it.
I'm so sorry. We had a couple people who got on Teams and either like didn't fully have access to Teams or didn't have access to the files. And I just wanted to make sure that like that was going to hopefully get cleared up in the next like day or two.
So I don't know what's going on with that because someone mentioned that. And so I got on there and I checked the permissions, and everyone, all of the first year members are members, which gives them access to everything in our Teams. So please, if you are having that problem, if you can't access literally anything on Teams that doesn't have a lock next to it, because there are just some editors channels that are locked to people, but everything else should be accessible. So if you have a question, email me. I'm the Victoria.Davidson. I go by Katie, but my legal name's Victoria, so don't get confused by that. Please let me know, and I will try to get it fixed for you. This technology stuff, as you know, all well know, is painful, and I wish that we didn't rely on it so much. But we are here, and we are working through it. So if you have that problem that Margaret's talking about, let me know, and I will work to fix it. Okay, so if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about, these are the email addresses on your screen. Writing requirement, email April. Note research and writing, you can talk to your note editor that you met today, or me. Symposium, your symposium editor that you met today, or Sarah. Your questions about your first ESS assignment, go to your notes editor. And literally anything else, Leah is our go-to person as our managing editor. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all for coming this morning. I really appreciate you all hanging in for a few hours. Helpful, and that you feel comfortable diving in. But as Margaret so beautifully put, if you have any questions or if you're struggling, don't keep it to yourself and don't just talk about it with your peers who are probably also struggling. But reach out to one of us, because we've been in your shoes and we're excited to help you. We're not just here, we're excited. All right. April, are you wanting to say something?
No, I'm good. Sorry, I was just
Okay.
the PowerPoint so I could see you.
Okay.
I don't see anyone before, so.
Well, no problem. Okay, with that, I think we're good. Everyone have a great Saturday. No problem. I'm sorry about any issues that may have occurred, but I think we made it.
I think so. Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah.
Thanks,
You'll have
everyone.
a good day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, you guys.
Okay. I'm going to call you April when I get off here.